Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all around the world, especially Jamaica, welcome back to another episode of Rogan's Corner. It's been about what? 3 years and 5 months of us not making an episode. We do apologize. I have been depressed times. My parenting team is just having me do worse things. I know Rajiv can relate. Yes, no. But anyways, we have a wonderful superstar, wonderful episode on our hands today. The one, Miss Veronica Blair, one machine. Welcome, welcome.
Yes. Yeah, we were watching the games and we were really impressed with how you played over the years, the improvements that we saw and all of that. So it just felt right reaching out to do an interview. Yeah, so we are as I said, we're really impressed with everything so far. My first question is though, how did you end up choosing rugby as a sport? Because not everyone sees rugby as sport that they want to play.
She started playing rugby. Before rugby, I was playing soccer for actually a long time, since I was about 4, and I went all the way till I was about 18. So honestly, I thought that was going to be what I was going to get professional in. But I had a bit of a strong relationship with that. And I was also young a bit, so I did a few things. One point when I like I felt here, I wanted to play football, American. My mom was like, no. There wasn't even like a clear no. It was like, why don't you ever be cheerleading? And that to me was like, absolutely, you know what I mean? And after that, I stepped into other sports, and then I just felt like it was a sport that would use all of my skills in one place. And where I felt the woman it's celebrated in the rugby space for you to be strong, like it's a point. In other sports I was playing, there was always a certain limit to what you could do. With rugby, it was just so stimulating in mind. It's hands on. It's just I really enjoy it. So yeah, it's nice.
Similar experience, but it was only with one sport, rugby. I told no, you can't play. You're not supposed to play. But as kids, we are very defiant. We find ways to play it.
I mean, just before I played my last intercall season, intercall, which is the intercollegiate college scene, I had a broken hand, which had kept me out for like, what, 2, 3 months. And my grandmother told me, so you're not going to play the sport again. And I told her a bold face, I said, nope, never again. And look at me running back into training with no fear. And it's crazy because we won the title that year. And how she found out was that TVJ broadcasted the final. So when she saw me, she was extremely upset. So, but from my perspective, I understand how Veronica is talking about. I started off playing cricket of all things. So, both field cricket fan, but I used to analyze the game. Saw rugby and I was like, interesting. No, I won't lie. That first season, I was absolutely terrified. I was like, yeah, them people are way too big for me to do anything against them. But after a while, they said you play against Baker once, you lose all your fear. So they say. But yeah, pretty much that's
But leading from that though, we know that representing Jamaica he is like the highest form that most athletes strive to reach. What does it feel like representing Jamaica and wearing the black, green, and gold out there? Feeling that energy from fans and your teammates, your coaches, and stuff like that.
Um, so, yes. I don't even think it's a question that someone has asked me before, but it just feels like so much believing in the whole Jamaica in some instances. My aunt's shop in Ghana. I was getting my hair done, watching the Olympics, going on. And it was running. Do you guys remember the time when we were Jedi?
Yeah.
She was running at the time. Um, it was the way that, like, everyone stopped what they were doing, and all of attention was on the Olympics. Like, everyone had so much respect for what they were doing. And so, from then, I was like, I really want to do it. I don't know how it's going to go. I was born in the US. And so I don't know how I would, make this leap. But it's like every time I go to do any type of physical activity, I have my Jamaica gear because it's such a rugby is not a massive sport as far as this sport. Maybe it's different, you know what I mean, from being an overseas player. But I feel like it takes even more work to get in touch with that side of things. Because like I said, I really there's a lot more thinking that goes into making a connection, maintaining it, just it was a to sum it up. Something that every time I put on the jersey, like I always wanted to do this, and then doing the sport. I feel like it's trailblazing. It's something that I really.
That is true. That is true because I remember my first time representing Jamaica, and as a jitters, I was nervous. I'm like, am I really doing this? Am I really doing this? So it's understandable, but I can see that it's not much of an issue for you based on how you play. It's always 110% for you on the field. So we can see that. We can see that, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Yeah.
I still remember the first time I saw her. It was when the run tournament was out here, right? And I remember the first time I saw her. Everybody knows I'm an analyst type of person. Very critical on certain things. I push back a lot on the narrative where a lot of people, we tend to say things and we're so patriotic about it, we don't really understand. A lot of guys were saying, yo, why we're so much non-Jamaicans? And I'm like, what is non-Jamaican about them? It's same
Conversation. I'm so
like I remember I had the same similar sentiment, but this was for more different reasons when it involved certain players. Like remember the first tackle I saw Veronica make. Yeah, I had to step back. I was like, well goddamn. And seeing her over the years, sevens, tens, 15s, it doesn't matter. I didn't believe how far I did. I couldn't believe when I saw her playing rugby. I was like, yep, that's a Man U favorite player. Just after that, yep, 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 yep,
I
yep.
know, funny enough, I was just about to mention Naomi now because based on social media and stuff, we can see that you guys have like a sister like bond, you and Naomi, which it's good to see. But I'm just curious though, how did that bond come about?
um. So I would say that I've always felt, just a preface, I've always felt that even if people don't say it, because I wasn't born in Jamaica, this is initially, you could feel the disconnect. It's like I don't really know, And so I think Naomi was one of those people when I first, she was young as well. It was a little like nervous. Would she ever gravitate toward me? Honestly, any of the local girls, know, they told me just being comfortable because I'm not, that I didn't grow up in Jamaica. Um, I think over time, Naomi and I have found ourselves in situations where we're trying really hard together and we're both with having that shared why of like we're doing this for our country. No matter what else happens, all the work that we're doing right now is we're trying to get to the Olympics. We're trying to, you know what I'm saying? So it took the kind of distance and barrier away. And, you know, those environments, it really just like teammates most of all the time. All of the players get together a couple of days before we play and then we play. We don't have any camps, like at least we haven't been to that anywhere else. Everything that we do is off of the people's own personal volition. So also given them because Jamaica doesn't have any tournaments, they don't have to build trust. It's very limited. And so the chance to go train and know who was there, that's so good. Because I knew that in order for us to build something that couldn't be broken, it starts saying, what is our bond with like, you know, trust like and if anybody was to say like I'm not Jamaican enough or if anybody was to convert, not speak highly about who we always come from, I think that also reaffirmed our confidence and the second kind of sister, even though we have origin differences, you know what I mean?
Let's be honest, because to be honest, though, I'm one person that is really critical of the national team and players that represent Jamaica. I there are times when speaking on the man the male national team,
Most of them, yeah.
they had issues, and I voiced those issues with others as well. So
Yeah.
I do understand where you're coming from, with the distancing and stuff like that. So it's understandable that and it's good to see that you guys gravitated towards each other because I said that the bond is there and it's been showing and we love to see it. We do love to see it.
Over time, like always come to my house. She's met my father, she's met my grandmother, she's met my sisters, like everybody, my family knows me. And like that for me, that bond in itself is just like it feels full circle, you know what I mean? Because it feels like I'm able to connect with my father even more, like I'm even more connected to heritage and stuff like that. I will say, like, even before I started playing rugby for Jamaica, I saw what the representation looked like from Jamaican rugby. I mean, I had questions because I'm like, who's Jamaican? To be honest. And how I always wondered, and so one of the made it so much effort into making sure how it looks, and that there are local girls there that at some point they're going to want to be rugby players too, and they're going to want to take it to the next level. And for me, I don't want to just be a face of something who was a girl from the U.S. that came to something that she left. Being a part of the growth of rugby. So one of my teammates, she looks to me now, Tarja. She said to me, like, you want to overseas see new stuff, aesthetically. That for me is that means so much because if someone's not staying, you don't have to choose them.
Which is true. That is true. You are one of the if not the only steady overseas player, female wise, that we see constantly going out on tournaments and stuff like that. So
It's
that is true.
really important.
But it's not even just about her going on tournaments, you know. It's the fact that she's integrating herself into the social network of everything.
Yep.
Because I won't lie, my page I've had to deal with a lot of comments, especially when Jamaica made the World Cup. You know, I had a lot of people, especially from the Australian side, questioning why we were there. And I looked at them and said, is this coming from the same set of people who has to have 10 people to play for them? And I'm like, I'm not having it. Then that kind of took a backward step because, I had to take over comments, which I admit it was kind of wild for me to see. But it frustrates me a lot. You know, people always look down on Jamaica, especially in rugby, saying,
Which is true.
we're just here making up the numbers. We don't have any worth. This, that, that. Like, it frustrates me so much. And I still remember it was 2019. We at USA have a rivalry, especially in league. And the way they were talking, like, oh, it's a sure given win. And the national coach, that was Romeo, when he was still out here, he more face told me, I'm not even going to ask for any overseas players, local players only. I was very confident. I was like, can we actually beat them? And we did. It was very close. I think we beat them by 2 points, I think.
Yeah,
But
two
it was a
points.
win.
A win is a
We won,
win. So true.
we won the match. And people actually started taking us seriously in both union and league. So anytime I see Jamaica, like, I know a lot of people might say, oh, it's a bad performance. I don't really see it as that. But I'll even be very honest. I'm far more critical of the miracle. I was 100% with the females. For some of the males, based on what I've seen or I hear them speak, you can tell sometimes they don't really put their all into it because they themselves don't even believe that, hey, we can go all the way. So that's why I will always say I'm a bit more critical of them than I will get for the females. So the females is like, if we're going to lose, we're going to lose fighting. And that's something I always appreciate. Yeah.
So true. So bouncing on the back of your mindset with integrating in the culture, not only just the team, right? What is the toughest challenge you faced so far in your rugby career, and how has it helped you to mature with your Jamaican roots?
Ask me the second question again.
So what is the toughest challenge you faced in your rugby career, and how has it helped with you maturing with your Jamaican roots?
Okay. I would say that the toughest thing that I'm coming up against right now is maybe this is every rugby player, but for maybe everyone, sometimes there's a lack of consistency in what to expect. And so I think that the more comfortable I get with the uncertainty that how inconsistent things are, it allows me to just stay ready and not so concerned on what's going to happen. I know something's going to happen at some point.
Yep.
But as long as I continue to train and keep myself ready, that's it. So I think that the second question you're asking me, how has experiencing that helped me to connect more with my roots? I would say, so even though I was born in the US, I grew up in a heavy Nigerian household, and I didn't learn or figure out what it meant to be like, you know, until I was because I went to boarding school. And so, but we thought for a long time, we thought that you couldn't really mess up food. And I just thought that you just like them. Because that's how there are certain things you didn't even allow us to have. We didn't have a phone until I was like 15. We were washing the clothes outside. Just like certain things, like, it's not necessary. We can figure out ways to do it. So, him always kind of, it's the, he always kept us very uncomfortable. Always having to stop it. Just doing whatever we can with whatever we do. So, to our school is so another. This my health like responsible taking the best of it because so sometimes it feels like you can be getting the short end of the stick when it comes to rugby, but then I have to sit back and realize that my whole career is reconstructed for myself. Nobody's telling me, hey, you go out there, go do this. You know, a whole other country trying to, get this together. So
Yep.
well, but yeah, I think going through those moments of like, hey, what's going to happen? And then looking at like, always hold myself as kind of like, nothing to just bring them to get so like, to even have this call. That would be so this in itself, to build and on for someone else, what an insurance. That can answer your question. Give me a minute to get around.
You did. No, but I do understand the consistency part where it does pose an issue because that's a little bit of sidetrack. I was never this big before. so so I do understand because I find it really hard to stay consistent with losing back the weights. I understand. I understand.
Something
Yeah, go ahead.
when I say consistency, I mean, if you guys work regular 9 to 5, you have a schedule, and you know exactly when you have break. You know when you have all that stuff. My entire like schedule for the year, I have to make it. So it's like every tournament that if I want last year, I told myself, okay, I want to make this more is that I'm going to go out and play this sport that's not giving you anything and make a career out of it. You get what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's a little bit crazy.
Yep.
And so sometimes that end goal of having that light at the end of the tunnel for me at times, which is tournaments, I'm like, at least I know what I'm working for. If I don't have those, that sort of like hope of like, okay, you're training for something, remember that. It can get a little it can get a little wonky, you know what I'm saying? So learning that whether I'm at a tournament or not, I'm always preparing that type of consistency. Because discipline at this point, me and discipline are like bench and box. So if
Understand.
don't let it go at this point. It's ingrained, but it's just always having hope that like, okay, listen, even if I don't have a tournament in the next 5 months, I'm still a rugby player. I'm still going after something.
Understood. So, with that being said, who who is your biggest influence on your rugby development, either a coach, teammate, or anybody?
Um, myself. I think that I think that I'm someone that I'm always in my head a lot. Um, for a while, not even for a while, a lot of the time, my social media for me is Instagram. So when I make a post, when I'm feeling low, or I'm feeling like this for, and I just don't want to do it, just it lights me up. You know what? They should be able to me right there. It's not things that I've always said I was going to do. That's a whole nother level of like inspiration where it's almost like I'm myself
Yeah.
because I keep seeing that. Like, I was born in North, and I'm representing Jamaica. What? Okay. Now I've played, I think, no, 3 codes of rugby for Jamaica. Like, it's those things. I played professional last year for the first time. Like, all of these things, like as they add up, for me, it's just like there's something that I can't miss, and I use that to really push me because at times it's hard to lean on other things and
That is true. That is true.
it's in my head.
And nothing is wrong with that, nothing wrong because at the end of the day, you can be a biggest supporter. So
True.
Because
that
I've
is
been
good.
like, that one doesn't go well, so I'm going on the other end of things.
Good. And I hope to see you continue to represent Jamaica. As I say, we have been watching, I've been watching, and we really like the improvements and stuff. And I see that there is a big influence from you on some of the younger players coming up. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is good. That is good. So it's good to see. I hope that some of the other overseas players develop your mindset and to see that it goes good. But yeah, the influence is there. Trust me, it's there.
Hey, hey, you know one of the most ironic things. Certain local player, me like that man flying on my inbox, Raj. The man say, so when VB I get our video, I was like, I beg your pardon? The man say, you know exactly who me attack. One Veronica. I'm gonna say, well, I said, but I'm start getting nervous. Come here, I say, huh. So I go, start code IG, TikTok, I start say, all right, cool, YouTube. And then I look funny, I say, wait, we can't do all of this in one night. But this I forgot wait till the next time. And by doing that, I'm messing with the AI tool. Brother, when I tell you, I did a sidebar with when I heard of tackles, when I know with tackles. I told you I could not tell a difference because the two of them they don't know what taking it easy is because them just hit so damn hard.
Very hard.
Hold on a second. Let me just because I feel like not often people won't often get the opportunity to like really dive into my mind or just the mind of a female athlete because no one's really asking those questions, right? You know, Naomi and I play like our life depends on it because at a certain period of time it did. For me it does. Because it almost feels I don't lie. It almost feels insane to like strap up and try to play this sport, take it to the highest level, and then get nothing in return. It's like literally you are signing up for a battle that you may never win. And it's just like whenever we get the chance to put on that gear and represent, it's just like training to you can't train anymore. We know what that feels like. We know what it's like because there are little girls there are people that are watching that at some point I want the union to grow. I want it to be hard for overseas players to get into the fold because what's happening at the local level is so strong. Like that would be amazing. So that we're coming in and we're learning from you guys, not the other way around. Because that's something that people will want to come back to. Is some a part of your foundation, and so I think that there are other overseas girls that they sacrificed my livelihood for this. And although it looks good in certain ways, it's really, really affecting in others. Everybody's willing to do that just because reward. It may not be the same. Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
It's good that you share that insight because to touch on your point where you mentioned that you wanted to be hard for overseas players to just join the fold. That's one thing that myself and Doc has been preaching and talking about for a very long time. So it's good to see that we're not the only one thinking the same and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Chance to come and play with what oxygen played with the local girls. What I'm realizing is, and I've seen this over the years, but it's really cemented. You don't lack in talent. Jamaica is one of the strongest countries in the Caribbean when it comes to. Let's talk about rugby. Rugby has not to toot her horn, but I'm just saying, like, I think that she's a matter of access to resources and who's pushing that.
Yep.
So with me, it's just like, yes, I wasn't born there. What I'm trying to show you is if we have access to resources, like honestly, we can do this. We just need a coach, we need regular gym, we need regular because the US is doing it. Everybody else is doing it. We
Yep.
can't think that because Jamaica's a small country or there's no reason to count ourselves out. We're not. The sprinters are not counting themselves out.
Please, that's the thing. That's the thing that I've been saying. Due to the lack of resources, we can get regular camps when it's coming to tournaments and stuff like that. When tournaments is coming, based on my knowledge, when we have a tournament or a international game coming up, if there are players flying in, it's like a week or two before the game. If there's tournament, the entire team is meeting up like the day before at the country or 2 days, 3 days before at the country wherever the tournament is playing. I said if we had the resources to say, hey, we have a tournament coming in June, August, we can get 4 teams, 4 players in Jamaica training for a month, 2 months, regular gym, regular dieting, regular programs, and then we fly everyone out to that tournament, sevens tournament, 15s, whatever it may be. I can guarantee you that we will dominate. It's not a if nor but, we will dominate. It's as I said, it all boils on back to the resources and who is pushing to get those resources.
If you come together, and you guys have seen the film, you've seen you know how this we come together every year. I think first it's 2022. How is it that we actually improved, but we come in second place every single time? With this much time, we were able to wrap it together. Last 2024, we had 8 new rules, and we came in second again. So it's like, imagine what we could do when we're not under pressure. We have more time to really put it together. This past tournament we played, round sevens, is one of the best I've ever played with Jamaica. We're blowing teams out, minimum 30-1. That's not something that we were doing before.
Well, I can tell you, I was you mean when you guys lost the finals. I was so upset because I was expecting you guys to win that tournament. I was fuming.
It's funny, because usually he's the one has to reel me in because anytime I see Jamaica lose, my first instinct is to be upset. He has to tell me, yo, listen, this and that happened. I need to somebody that tell him, say, yo, man, I'm not here. I should have win. But then after analyzing, I calm down a little bit. But, I will say this. With the limited resources, we have the 2 youngest scorers for the male in a Rugby Sevens World Cup, which is the two Facey brothers. Right? I have said this numerous times, saying we have the 3 best wingers in the Americas region, male and female. Naturally, someone asked me who that is, and I'm like, Veronica Blair, Naomi Dad, Kenneth Walker. I'm saying, who else in the world my name? So as a matter of fact, we could take a B Hurricanes team and beat anybody in here. But the problem is, right? Sometimes we do believe our hype a little bit too much. Not all of us. But even just 1 or 2 of us believe our hype, everything get mushed. And that's one of the major downfalls.
Like that, and that's something that this is. I don't know if I can express this enough. Every time, the last 2 years that we've lost second place, crushed is not even that. It obliterated. My spirit disappeared. I was like, again.
No, trust me. I think I saw it in your post. Thing because of something, and then
Instant, like it's stuff like that that really that really hurt me because I put so much time and energy into this. And I understand that as an athlete sometimes, I'm a very emotional person, but there's a time and place and you can put your emotions to one side and deal with the action. Right? Emotions aside, yes, I wanted to win, but us winning that tournament get us paid tournaments later. So it means we get to play more. So it's not even like, okay, yes, we didn't win, but that means we also are not going to play again until another week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all of our chances this together because money's always a for one moment. If we win this, that means money isn't a problem. We can actually get to the work. Because if you're trying to make the Olympics 2027, you can't play two more tournaments and then win them. Like the math is kind of tough. And then being in a high performance environment, I learned some of the teams, not some, every team that we go up against out of the Caribbean, we treat this like a full time job. You cannot win and not treat this like a full time job. You can't come to a tournament 3 days before and say, you're going to mash up the whole thing. How? I haven't seen you guys in 365. We haven't done anything together. So, by the grace of God, let's do the best that we can. But sometimes that pride has to come with the work because then it's just pride.
That is so true. That is so,
And
so,
everybody
so true.
wants to be Jamaican when we're winning. And then when we're losing,
Yep.
like,
Yep. The keyboard critics come out of the woodworks. Everybody.
wait,
And I tell you,
No, but the thing about it is like, and I will be honest answer this. My first couple times analyzing, I was very critical.
mm,
I mean, I remember our rugby league match Jamaica played. We played France. That we lost that match. I think France scored 34 and we scored 12 points. And that match pissed me off so much because even though the audio was bad, I could audibly hear the monkey chants coming from the stadium. So it just annoyed me so much, right? We got a chance to play them again. I already knew our matches were against the walls because one, we have next to no local players in the team. Everyone was in the Super League Championship. So I understood it was a tall assignment. That much made me tear my gear up because I was like, every chance we got, it was like, yeah, if we don't score, we're going to shit. We lost that much by 36-0. And I had them broke down in tears. One of my betting them to say, the foolishness. Jamaica don't make the World Cup. You know, ball. I said, oh, what are you crying for? They said, oh, it's the same concept. I am so patriotic.
mm.
I don't want Jamaica to lose. Look, I'm not even a track and field enthusiast. Anytime it's Jamaica lose, I get pissed off. Because it's just the pride that I have knowing that we either underperform or we gave away something. It's not that, oh, the other team is so much better than us. I have seen teams far worse than Jamaica. Far worse. Go to a sevens tournament and actually dominate. I'm not even talking about the local tournament. I'm talking about a seventh circuit.
Mm.
So when I see people that I was say, oh, we should have our expectations lowered. For what? For what purpose?
nope.
If we, if we have USA of all countries, us, I literally have a detailed list of every Jamaican roots player that is in the Super League and the NRL right now. The list is staggering. And I'm like, yeah, jokingly in the comments, automatically them to get them into the country, right?
And what I come across as well, especially is that there's a part of the diaspora that like I feel like sometimes people in the diaspora get a bad rap because it's like um if you're overseas you must have money, you must have something. You get what I mean? So there's this built in like this thing. I think that there's at least from what I've experienced, there's such a deep like and heavy like longing to connect with the culture from the overseas players to the point where like when I went to England last year and I went to a sevens tournament. I wanted to like I'm trying to like spread it. Okay, Jamaica has a women's rugby team. People saw me with the shirt and they were like, Jamaica has a sevens team, and I'm like, yes, we do. And the people got so excited because you know that there's a large amount of Jamaicans in England.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's just about what can you offer them that's actually going to be helpful, beneficial to what they already have going on. Because sometimes with resources, you can't offer me the same resources that I'm getting from somewhere else. You're going to take the other way because it's going to be such a little just to scrounge up the basic necessities.
Understood. Never understood. As I said, all we can do, is keep our fingers crossed and hope that the resources do come and we have the right person to manage it the right way. So we can
Definitely.
see where not only female rugby, but rugby on a whole, both union and league, go further. So
Yeah.
we're open. We're always open. Well, I'm always open. So as I honestly want to see where players can make a full-time career out of rugby, local players. I know that we have a few players that do play for universities overseas. Naomi is one of them. As I know that a St. Catherine player is going overseas as well, and a few others.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Evan Smith.
that's the thing. That's where we want to see where scouts are coming out because our programs are that good. We have scouts coming out to scout Jamaican local players, where our clubs has the financial stability to pay players to play and stuff like that. So we're open, and we really do hope to see it happen sooner than later. But we can just keep our fingers crossed. We can only keep our fingers crossed. And so my last question is to you for is what is the message that you will give to young Jamaican girls or females with Jamaican roots and background who are interested in playing rugby but are either hesitant or afraid to do so?
That question is a privilege, just digging it in. I think simply, he was not so that's what I would put simply. And what I mean by that is, I think I've been, as a young woman, as a young Caribbean, and we've been socialized to the simplest will be and do what's best of me, do too much, make sure I don't do too little, keep it in a certain square, understand, what needs to be. If you want to pick up a rugby ball and be aggressive and for it, don't let anybody tell you what to do, because people will only speak how much they say. But they've never been it. So if that's somewhere that you want to go, in order for you to stand from that point, you got to get there. Because I think that for me, it's when I was wondering, like, why am I doing this? Should I continue to do it? I want to be able to look at someone else that says that they want to do something, whether it's rugby, whether it's whatever it is. If it seems even this much, I want you to be able to look at what I've done as like, okay, this because she's done this crazy thing, you can do it too. There's that type of like that hope and that belief in self is something that it's, it's hard to it's hard to get it, but once you get it, you hold on to it. Don't don't let anybody tell you you're doing too much. You know, it's a player very enough in the world of like potential. What you can do. Just make you give yourself permission and you weren't ready for somebody else to say, so play with yourself. Some girls are working down the people just for fun. And it's hard because they have to want to support families. They have to it's expensive to get going there and I saw how it was perfect. But well, I make a choice to do play rugby and I can't give me anything. Maybe I don't have boots. Maybe it takes me 2 hours to get there. It becomes a mission towards it. And so it's like everyone is still trying to sort of some of those it's just telling themselves yeah, okay.
Yeah. That is really lovely. That is really lovely. Thank you for that. I'm sure a lot of players, well, not players, a lot of persons, even if they don't play rugby or want to play rugby, they will take from that to play whatever sports they want. So thank you for that.
Listen, I'm 26 now. Every day feels even more sobering because only you the rest of me sounds like a thing. What am I going to do that's going to bring me further to where I want to be? Because my mom is different. You don't get a certain amount of time to really name up, try something, and once that motivation, discipline kind of wears out, you start making choices. And so it's just like, this is all the time you got. Tomorrow is going to be new, and then after that it's going to be new, and then this time keeps moving. So what are we going to do with this?
That is true. That is true. We are glad to have you, and we do hope to have you again in the future, maybe as a future Olympian. So
Maybe on the way.
yes, for us to know figures that it do happen, and see you all on the field playing for representing Jamaica. So hopefully in the near future we'll be interviewing an Olympian. Yes, yes, yes.
Olympian and World Cup qualifying winner, you know.
That is true.
Taking
That
great
is true.
distance
That
from
is
now.
true. That is true. And the final thoughts, Doc?
If anything, if she just happens to see a message from me, just see. Okay, great.
All right. So, any final words? Any final words, Veronica?
I just want to say thank you for having me. It means so much to locally feel represented and feel that I'm really trying to do some good. Yeah. That really means a lot to me every time I have the opportunity to. So I appreciate you just watching, just giving me the time and space. Yeah. It really means a lot. Jamaica rugby to the world. I'm just saying.
To the
That
world,
is it.
to the world it is.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for joining us. Doc, do you think
It was,
do our Ocho?
yeah, it was always a pleasure, finally seeing her face to face. So I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we do have more regular episodes because we do have a lot to cover in the coming weeks. So expect a lot of rugby union and rugby league news. So thank you again, Veronica. Guys, appreciate it, and hopefully everyone who plays rugby, all athletes for Jamaica, have an injury-free season for 2026, and know that we all love you. Peace out. Cool?
Nothing on the way. Thank you.
Right.